It's live right now.
Yeah, should be live.
Are we back?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, sorry about that, y'all. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we're back. So hopefully everybody will jump back on with us. I think we were on the question talking about a huge problem that we encountered in the beginning stages of marriage. Mm-hmm. Right?
Right.
Okay, you were talking, so we'll come back to
He
you.
said finances. That's the first question he said.
Yes, let me get back to it. Yeah, there we are.
Yeah.
Yep, it's live. It's coming back in. All right. Yeah, okay.
Sorry, y'all. If y'all want to say something, make sure you jump in the comments and insert your opinions, your comments, your experiences. We promise to acknowledge those so that we can comment and talk with you, conversate with you.
All right. We're back. One more time. Do me a favor. Smash the share button. Share it again. We are back. I believe the title is still the same. Yes. RStream iOS, is that what it is? Hi.
You need to charge this though. It's not what you
I need to charge. Okay.
That's charger.
Well, it's on my phone. I can go add it. Yes. While I'm talking. I can go add it. Don't worry about it. Now we shared. Here we go. Hit me with your question one more time.
Okay, so the question was, or actually it's not a question, it's a statement. Let's talk about a huge problem that we encountered in the beginning stages of marriage.
Okay, my number one goal or focus or issue that I had to focus on the most in the beginning of our marriage were our finances. Again, made the statement that most black couples don't start from a place with a nest egg. They start from zero. So I know in both cases here, neither one of our families were in position to put us up with a nice pot of money and a house or a starter home or whatever. We did good to have a car.
True.
Okay, we did good to have a vehicle. But even in that, and even being married and as an active duty military member, the struggles were real. Okay, the struggles were super real.
Definitely.
Money was always tight. I can recall having to, after working my military job in the day, I would leave there and go to the commissary, which is the military grocery store on base, and bag groceries for 3-4 hours, trying to make extra money to come home to the house to try to make sure we had enough. And as you know, well, maybe you don't, one of the biggest fights you could ever have outside of being entangled is your finances.
Amen.
Yeah, that messes with everything.
If money ain't right, the loving ain't right.
Right? True.
Because we mad at each other.
Worried about everything.
Because we can't focus on loving each other because how we gonna make it is the major concern.
Right.
So when finances aren't there, there becomes a whole nother set of issues that you have to deal with. So finances may have been one of the biggest problems we had growing up. Growing up married. Growing up in this marriage.
Okay, I want to chime in just a little bit to talk about our finances. We were discussing this question, kind of mulling over what we were going to talk about today, and I reminded him of a story that he had forgotten all about, and I'm kind of ashamed of the story now, but I'm going to tell it anyway. So when he first got in the military and went to tech school, he was in Gulfport, Mississippi. And so I moved down to Gulfport, Mississippi with him. And we lived in this little ghetto, raggedy apartment. I think it had 2 bedrooms. It may have been 1 bedroom, and the kitchen and the living room was all one room. And anyway, there was no washer and dryer, so we had to go to the laundromat to wash our clothes. So we would gather up all of our clothes, take them to the laundromat and wash. So this particular laundromat that we always went to, that was around the corner from our apartment, we got to know the owner of the laundromat pretty good. So he knew our faces because we came in there often to wash our clothes, and we had 2 children also, so washing clothes was a necessity. So one particular day, this couple had came in, put their laundry in the washer, they came back, put their laundry in the dryer, and they left. They left with their clothes in the dryer. And we were so broke back then. And in the dryer, you could see money tumbling around in the dryer. So the owner of the laundromat also saw the money in the dryer. You remember this story?
Yep.
So it was us sitting at the laundromat waiting on our clothes to finish drying, and the owner was in there. We all saw the money. He looked at us and he said, if I get this money out of the dryer, if I give y'all some of it, will y'all not say anything? We were so broke at this point that we agreed with the owner of this laundromat that if he got this money that was tumbling around in the dryer out and gave us some, we was hushed. We wouldn't say anything to the person who came back in there and got their clothes out of the dryer. That's how broke we were.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy story. And I reminded him about it the other day. He was like, man, we did do that, didn't we? We did.
You know what? I got one. And I'd like to, if this little boy, if you remember this, I want to apologize to you. I don't know your name, never did, but I want to apologize to you for going off on you in that parking lot there in Mississippi. I apologize, okay? I'm so sorry. You don't know what I was dealing with when that moment happened. So I'm in the we're in the car, getting out the car, and heading into the grocery store. We're going in the grocery store to buy groceries, and I got out the car and I went to put my keys in my pocket, and I looked down. Actually, there was $1 on the ground. I thought I had dropped the $1 out of my pocket, and this little boy was bending down to pick this $1 up. In all reality, I'm pretty sure that was that little boy's $1. But I lost it on him. Boy, you better give me my $1. What you trying to do? Take my money. Get over it. And I snatched the $1 off the ground. Man, he's like, this is my $1. Man, if you don't get out of here.
That fell out of my pocket. That's my $1.
Oh my God.
So I went off on this little boy and accused him of trying to take my $1.
$1.
$1. Because I'm trying to go in the grocery store and figure out how to find a way to feed my wife and 2 little babies.
Wow.
That's how stretched the finances were. That's how. And they were babies, so they didn't eat a lot. At all. So that's how tight money was then. And I'm trying to juggle being in tech school and everything that came with that and provide for my crew at the house.
Yeah.
Lost it. And dude, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You scarred the little boy for
I probably did. I do.
$1.
Over $1.
$1.
$1.
We couldn't even buy a cheeseburger. That was a luxury. $1.
Wow, dude. I know some stories, man. Wow. Well, I have a story. Some tough stories.
Let me
Go ahead.
insert something real quick from our
Questions?
our comments. And this one goes back to the dating. Kim said dating is scary now. She's single.
Okay.
So she's saying dating is scary now. And Nicole backed that and said, well, it's crazy to date now because you don't know what you're going to get. And that's like what we were talking about earlier. Now you can hide behind a keyboard and a phone, and you can post what you want them to think about you. can put out there what you want them to know about you, even down to how you look, because you don't even have to use your own photo.
Wow.
Or a filter.
Or
Change so
a filter.
much,
You
right.
could put a filter on, and
Yeah.
and
Filters be lying.
and then waste all of your time having this conversation and this relationship behind this keyboard. Never get to meet them. There's a show called Catfish. I don't know, have y'all
Oh, yeah.
watched that?
Yeah.
Mess around and meet up with somebody, and it's the complete opposite of what you fell in love with.
Never knew what it was.
So it's crazy. I wouldn't, if I were in this time, if me and David Youngblood were together, I don't know about the day. I might be single and traveling and happy, and that's it. Because it's hard
Too
now.
many chances. It's like gambling.
Yeah, it's real hard now.
And ain't no point in trying to be spirit deep. I got discernment. I understand. Okay, yeah, I understand. But it's still difficult sometimes to tell those that are for you and those that just want what you can give them. That actually want to be with you, not trying to necessarily get anything from you.
Right.
So yeah, the scary thing is it seems like everybody's got an angle nowadays. Everybody's out to get something. What they say? I'm trying to get the bag. And they're trying to get the bag through you, from you, you know, and it's like, come on, man. I just want somebody that want to help me get a bag together.
Yeah.
I don't need you to try to get my bag.
Yeah.
You know?
So that's why you gotta be really, really, it pays to have God in your life.
Looking out for you when you can't look out for yourself.
Yeah, because if you don't have Him, you can fall for anything, and it can take years to figure it out.
I'm
Yeah.
telling you. Then they got good surgery too.
So we just saying all that to say, Kim, we agree. We don't know. We just saying that to say we don't know if we would be. Well, I can speak for myself.
I could.
I don't know if I'd be doing it, the dating scene right now.
Nope. I'm glad God gave me mine years ago.
I'm not doing it this time.
Now your financing story, or whatever your story is.
Yes,
And
yes.
then you have a comment about the finance.
Well, it was crazy because we're living on base. I think I was a two-striker at the time.
I don't know what this is, y'all. So.
And I look back now. I look back now and see that we made it, but
Oh yeah.
was paid bills. And back then, every time you wanted to do something, they wanted you to put everything on allotment. Well, when you put things on allotment, it comes automatically out your check. Well, when your check, you trying to make ends meet sometimes. Back then,
A1C.
I was an A1C. I was a two-striker.
So that's no money for those of you who do not know
Broke.
military lingo. You have no
Broke.
money and a whole family.
And the Bank of America, at the time, I called them out, didn't help me understand fully what overdraft protection was.
Oh, Jesus.
Can we be real?
Go for it.
And so overdraft was in effect. And so my check hit the bank, and it didn't hit nothing. And so I get paid, look at my bank account, we didn't have online and all this stuff, and you looking, had to go to the bank, see what we had, go to the ATM,
Get a print.
get your balance. $35.
Wow.
It's payday.
35. And military people is
Twice a
2
month.
weeks
Till the next payday.
till the next payday. So
First
$35.
right?
Right.
It could be 2.5.
$35 to the next payday. That's what we was trying to work with.
$35.
Boy.
One in diapers,
One fresh.
formula, one freshly potty trained, two of us trying to eat, trying to put gas in the car, get back and forth to work and to church and to anything else. Didn't know what movies was or what. Go to the mall for what? To look?
Wasn't no date night.
No.
No. What? A date night? What was that?
$35.
That's crazy.
35.
I remember it. I just don't remember how we got through it.
Yeah, but we did. We ate every day. That's the crazy thing. We ate every
We
day.
ate.
Wow.
But we don't know how. I can't tell you. I can't even tell you how. Now, I remember, and this is my story, and we're going to go to her question, I guess. I remember us going to the grocery store. It was payday. You remember that? We went to the commissary. It was like a 15.
Everybody go.
Everybody go the first 15. Right? We went to the grocery store. We didn't bother checking the account because it was payday.
Oh man.
And we knew we had some money in it. So we went to the grocery store, the commissary went full-fledged grocery shopping, which we only got to do on the 1st and the 15th, because there was no extra money coming in. We filled the basket to the rim, had our children with us, went to the checkout line. She checked out all our groceries. It was like, what, $150, $200 something dollars. We got ready to run out. We ran our card, and she said, "Sorry, sir, it says decline." He was like, "Decline? I just got paid. Run it again." Ran again. "Sorry, sir, it's saying it's declined." Back to there were no cell phones type thing. We couldn't go on our phones and check your account. You could check your money then.
Go to the ATM.
We had to leave the basket there.
Wow.
Oh, man.
And go check the ATM. You know, check the ATM. We had our babies with us, and they were like, "Are we not getting our cereal?" You know, stuff like that. I was
man.
like, "We'll be back. We're gonna come back and get it." And we checked the account, and it was negative. Like it was a negative bank account. So we had to call home, you know, get money sent. So
Western Union.
Western Union. So we didn't go get some food to eat.
Wow.
We didn't get the groceries we packed. We had to be strategic.
What you buy?
God.
Buy something you can stretch, right?
It's on the last 2 days. Oh,
Well, they sent us a pretty good amount, so we could get
I don't know.
groceries.
I know we didn't go that day though.
No.
No, our groceries went back.
But when we went and picked up our money, we just, because they didn't get their cereal that day, we went and took them to like Burger King or something like that. But that was a terrible, terrible
You talking
day.
wow.
You talking about throat was, boy.
Terrible day.
What was you feeling when you walked up to the ATM? What? Okay, hold on, let me ask this question. I know we're supposed to move on, but I gotta ask. Was she with you when you went to the ATM?
We was together.
Oh my God.
We all left. And
She was standing next to you when you looked at it?
Was you?
Mhm. Well, you know, it was like drive up.
It was drive up. We drove up to
So I
it.
was in the car.
So she was looking across the shoulder.
Wow.
Then at that time I was angry. I was so mad because I couldn't feed our kids like I wanted to, and I was mad. We can go here at the wrong person. Like I was mad at him,
Right.
and it wasn't even his fault. But when it's during that time as the provider, you look to them for everything.
Yes.
And so
Go right.
when it didn't go right, I was like, well, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, that is a dangerous question. And this is why I say that. I ain't trying to go all down the street. I'm trying to stay on the path we're on. But that's a dangerous question to ask. I don't say it from a husband, your husband, a man, when he knows his job and he's got that mindset of, as we've been brought up, you take care of your family.
Right.
Then you make dumb decisions called payday loans.
Wow. And get stuck
In the revolving door.
that you can't get out of.
Trying to answer the question, what you gonna do?
Yeah. That's a tough one, man.
That question has gotten more couples in trouble versus, hey, listen, because we young. Ain't nobody praying then. Nobody said, listen, let's pray.
At least not the right way.
Yeah, we're not. Dear Heavenly Father, God, we thank you for all that you've already done. Thank you for keeping us. Now, God, we know you're going to see us through. Give us peace. and give us direction. Jesus. No, what nobody praying that?
Let there be a knock at the door.
Let nobody praying that.
Lord, just drop $50 in the
If we
bank.
real about it, your mind really goes to how can I make some money fast?
Dangerous.
It don't even matter what I
Wow.
gotta do. Just let me think about some ways I can come up with the money, or how I can go get some money and do what I gotta do. Just I mean, as long as my crew is good, I'll be all right.
But that's where our upbringing came in, because instead of me going out trying to sling some rocks or trying to do something stupid, I went and got another job.
Right. That's why I was banging.
Nobody
groceries.
nobody
Bagging
believed.
groceries.
Nobody
You were bagging
believes.
groceries, and he was working at McDonald's.
Right.
I closed McDonald's Monday through Friday, got home, went to bed, got up, put on the Air Force uniform. I wore two types of uniforms for a long time. McDonald's, I worked there before I got in the military. I thought I ain't never got to go back again. I'm in the military. Whoop, whoop, not gonna know. McDonald's, can I have my job back?
Please, hey, help a brother out. I got stuff to take care of. All right, what's the question? What was
Okay, Jaquita Jones. Hey, Quita. She said, knowing that finances were an issue in the beginning, what have you, this is a great question, taught your children to keep them from repeating and having those same issues?
Wow.
One of the things, I'll jump in here first. One of the things that I have had numerous conversations about with my children is go ahead and get your schooling done before you ever take a wink or even think about getting married. Because
Come on.
during all of this time, while we were going through all of this struggle, I was also in school. So part of the reason why he was going and working at the commissary after being on duty all day with the Air Force was because he needed to pay for my books. So not only did we need groceries, food, diapers, whatever else we needed, I was also in school. I had to have somebody to pay for my books. I could no longer lean on mom and daddy because
The torch was passed.
right, it's his turn now to take care of me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
one of the things I have told them is go ahead, and it's okay if you want to date, if you want to be in a serious relationship, whatever. But make sure you go ahead and get your degree, set up your career so you got your own money flow when you enter into marriage, and then y'all can bring your incomes
Help each
together
other out,
to
yeah.
help each other out. Because I guess we jumped ahead of the game. We were married before we ever graduated from school.
Right.
So that made it hard because we hadn't really started our career paths yet. So there was no big cash flow. It was just from check to check.
And it helps to relieve the burden off of just one person. Like when you have just the one person, like y'all, like I said, y'all said often y'all were raised to take care of your families, and that's great. But at the same point in time, we're a unit. And if one half of the, like here at the church, if one half of the air conditioning unit ain't working, then that half of the church is hot, and then you end up overworking the other hot part of the air conditioning unit trying to cool the whole place out. So that's what happens when you don't set yourself up to be a help to one another. And so and that's what Clarissa said, and I agree wholeheartedly. We told our kids the same thing. Get your education. Get your education. It's afforded to you now. Go get it. There's plenty of time for you to get involved and get children and do all that. You want to have something to do what the Bible says do, and it's to leave an inheritance for your children's children. So this is what we teach our kids to make sure, along with that, if you go get a bill, pay it on time.
Learn how to. Yes.
Don't hold back trying to hang on to a little bit of change to do what you want to do, because that in turn gets you in trouble. It makes your bill late. It takes your credit down, your credit score down. It gets you in trouble with the credit card company. And I'm gonna say credit card company because that's what we all go do when we first go to college. They come up there and they get you with those credit cards. Oh, you can get a credit card, $400. You got $400. You got $1,000 credit limit, and we're thinking, wow, I can take care of myself with this. but you don't have no income
It's a trap.
to be paying that back. So make sure that you do take care of your bills, and then make sure you give yourself a 10%, just like you give 10% to the church, 10% tithing to the church. So that's what we're trying to teach our children even now. Put 10% up that you don't touch. And if you can't do 10%, do 5%, whatever, of your pay, what you have coming in, put it up, don't touch it, so you can have a savings for things like coronavirus, COVID-19, things like that. You know, when that stuff come around and you have to stop working, and whether or not you get your stimulus check or whatever the case may be, you have something that you can pull from on a day-to-day to help you sustain life.
Yeah.
Jasmine and Kiki are very good at that.
Yeah,
They are so frugal.
very.
You're not getting none of that money.
None. Zero.
I think we gotta make. I say this to my kids all the time. Look, do what you have to do now,
Yes.
so you can do what you want to do later.
That's
So
good.
if you do what is required to be successful later, when it's time to enjoy the fruits of your labor, you've already done the work beforehand. Make sure you're focusing on what's important now. I gotta go to school, or I gotta start my career. If you don't want to go to college, that ain't for you. Make sure you have a career before you try to jump into something with somebody else. Because if you don't got nothing, it's really hard to just say I'm gonna go get something after you've already linked yourself up with someone else, and you find yourself being responsible for each other now. So preparation. There's no rush.
Right.
There's no rush to jump and get married, because that's a full-time commitment for life, and that's never. There's no days off. I'm gonna take a break and go heal myself. You can't. You can't do that kind of stuff. So you got to make sure you're focused and committed to the entirety of the marriage. So in these moments now, in your younger years, prepare yourself. Focus on doing what you got to do now. Be it working and establishing yourself as a full-time employee at a job that got benefits.
Benefits.
Not just a job that got benefits. So you bring something to the table, and then if you link yourself up with a like-minded person, and when you both bring something to the table, you don't start from zero.
Right.
It's
Right.
difficult starting from zero.
It's difficult.
That is a hard thing to do. That is a hard thing to do. I think another thing that we try to impart to our children is make smart financial decisions. Don't go out and get something you know you can't handle right now. Be good with not having it right now. You not in your career, be good with not having the fancy, not having the most expensive, not trying to be like everybody else. Be good with what you can afford.
Right.
I think that's a lesson that they have to learn, because sometimes you see other people with this and with that, and it's looking like this, looking like that, and all this stuff look good. Right now, you can afford to have Nikes. Well, the expensive Nikes, because you ain't got all the overhead.
They come with that.
The kids. And
You know what I'm saying? But you got to come to the point where you realize you can't get that wall over there.
That's not for you.
That's not the wall for you right now. You need to deal with this wall right here.
The clearest.
I'm not telling you to go and get some sights. I'm not trying to tell you to go get some buddies or some scruffing stuff. I'm telling you, just go to the clearance rack or go to this wall over here. Look for sales. You need to deal with the sales right now. Be smart about it until you can comfortably go into the store and say, okay, I can choose to get whatever I want.
Right.
and then you will be broke.
And know that you
It
won't
ain't
be
gonna hurt me later.
Right. I ain't eating ramen and belly shaker juice for 2
What?
weeks.
Who the what juice?
The belly shaker, remember that?
Jungle juice.
You remember? Belly shaker. It didn't really have a name. It was at Walmart and it was red.
Jumbo juice, right?
No, it wasn't Jumbo Juice. It was just in a gallon jug.
Used
Matter
to
of
get it
fact,
at VBX. That's what
Okay.
you're
orange and red is what they had. It was in a
That's
gallon.
right.
They had grape too though.
A grape, and it didn't really have no flavor
It
to
was
it.
just a color.
Yes.
A little bit of sugar in it. So, in essence, what we're trying to say, it's hard to be big
With a
when
little
little
guy.
got you.
Yeah.
Can't do it. You gotta stay where you are. Stay on your level. Don't try to get up there and you ain't up there yet. Can't ball on the budget. Alright, let's get to this next one.
Alright, so we've talked a little bit about some of the challenges in marriage. So let's talk about what is one of the highlights of marriage, or what do you think is something that you consider a highlight about being married, a married couple?
You never go first. We're passing the torch.
Yeah, I went first one time.
Oh, we got you.
I won't.
Both of us have gone first one time. You two
The
have.
ladies.
We have.
I've gone first.
Okay, baby, you have.
The ladies.
Yes, I
You haven't gone first yet.
I did a lot of talking just a second ago, though.
So we all did.
So
that. See how you try to, baby, go,
Angle
go.
it.
Go, baby. Go. Highlights.
Okay.
Yeah.
Highlights of marriage.
Yeah.
One of them, I guess one of the highlights of marriage is that you have someone to share life with, your joys and your sorrows, all of those things. You have someone to share those things with. I can say that you are the one person in the world who's seen me at my greatest and you've seen me at my very worst. And it's important that in marriage you have someone that you can share that with, or that you feel comfortable sharing it with. Some people are married and they don't share their greatest moments and their worst moments. They're still alone in marriage,
Wow.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But when you're married and happily married, this is called the highlights, right? Then you can share all of those things. You don't have to carry that burden alone. So I would say being able to share the burden and the joys of life with somebody.
That's good.
I would have to agree with her. I was going to say something along the same lines of having that one constant person who you know is never going to waver. Like through the good times and the bad times, like what she was saying, just knowing that you have that rock solid. If you have a bad day, you got somebody you can come home and vent to. And they're going to listen and they're going to encourage, and you reciprocate, do the same thing for the other person. So I would say that's definitely one of the highlights of marriage. I would also say being able to watch that person transition and grow with you is another highlight of marriage, because like we talked about in the beginning, we were very young, we were babies when we got married. We didn't know anything. I mean, we had seen our parents do what they did, but being married and being on our own, it was a whole different story, a whole different ball game. So just being able to watch that person or your spouse evolve into the person that they are today, I would say that's one of the highlights.
Oh, okay. She ain't ready yet. I would have to say one of the highlights I think is being able to know, regardless of where I end up in the world, somebody got me. I can recall, I think it was maybe 2 years ago. Maybe 2 years ago, I went to Honduras on a mission trip. Now I'm hours away, and to not be able to contact my wife, as the convenience of cell phones, I couldn't just call her, because where we were, there was no signal. We were just there. There was no Wi-Fi. We were just there, and to know that she's missing me just as much as I'm missing her makes you excited. To know that every day I gotta go somewhere, or when I come home, or when I get off work, I'm like, I'm heading to the house. My wife won't be there. I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna be good the rest of the day. I'm good. I'm gonna go to the house. To have that comfort in knowing that when I get home, regardless of how tight things may be at the moment, all is well because we home, we together. That probably brings me the most joy. Reverend Bishop,
Y'all deep, man. Well, something that brings me joy.
Or highlight.
highlight it.
Highlight of marriage.
Word it right now.
Yes.
Companionship. I would say that. I think it's been more obvious now that the kids are gone.
I'd agree with that statement wholeheartedly.
Because it's different. The companionship is different. Even though the kids are still primary, not primary, but still very relevant. That they don't ever become irrelevant, but they always are relevant. They're always, a part of us, but they're not physically there. And so there's a difference in connection now. And so the marriage now is, because we came into marriage with kids.
Right.
And so now being married in a sense with just her and I, even though they come on the weekends or they come at a certain time, to be there, it's her and I now. And so the companionship, is a big thing. It's just having that one there. And then you also, I don't have to go to bed by myself.
You don't have to. I think you don't have to compete for. You don't have to compete for attention.
Before he go there and take over.
I wasn't finna go there.
You don't have to compete
Just
for
saying.
attention from your spouse. Like a lot of times that your kids are the focal point of you both. The dad's making sure this is going right, the mom's making sure all the rest of this is going right. And so now it's like it's just you and your husband. That's the empty nesting thing. Or you and your wife in the house. Now it's just the two of you. And that's when you figure out a whole lot about your relationship, your connection or your union. Because you figure out, do you like this person, or do you you remember stuff from, in our case, you remember stuff from when you first started dating. One of the things we started doing was we have to have a date night now. Every night is date night because our kids are grown. So we want to just pick up and go to the movies or pick up, we can't do it now. Rona done shut us all down.
Yeah. This is gonna be a good summer, boy. I was looking forward to this.
Right.
Rona, boy.
But before that, you could just go and do what you want. Do what you want to do. You want to pick up and just ride out. In y'all's case, it could be Jackson. Ours is Dallas. Just ride out and go. Let's just go see something we ain't never seen before.
Right.
And you got two people that you got to pay admission for. That's it.
Right. Not a whole
four.
family.
And then you figure out, I guess, like you were saying, companionship. You figure out that, wow, I really can't do life without that person.
Right.
Like, I really can't. I didn't used to care if he would just run to the store, run back, and all this kind of stuff because I stayed with the kids. Okay, you go ahead, and then you don't want to grab all the kids and take the kids all to the store and all that. Even though we did do it and it was okay when it happened, but now that you don't have to do it, you see how much goes into doing that. And so when he just going to the gas station, I'm like, hold up, I'm coming. Put my shoes on and I go because I enjoy spending time with him, and I'm glad it went that way versus the other way because it could have gone.
Just cut out.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move
I
on.
love spending time with you. I do.
That's awesome.
That's so sweet.
Ain't it
But
sweet?
we sugarcoated it tonight, though. I'm just
How
saying.
we should go what?
Do you have anything? I don't
What
want
do
you
you
to
have to
sugarcoat.
say?
We were being transparent. So do you
I'm
have
just
anything
saying.
you want to add?
Marriage is a beautiful thing.
It is.
Not guilty.
What you trying to say, sir?
What does that mean?
The guilt is gone.
We don't know because we were talking about highlights of marriage.
Right. The highlight of a marriage.
So, are you trying to say
Are
the
you
love
saying-
life is
Not
highlighted?
guilty. It is. Being able to love her and not be guilty of sinning.
Amen.
How long did we make
That's
it?
true.
How long did we make it?
We made it quite well.
Okay, before he went there.
I knew he was going there.
It's
But
7:16,
it's okay.
so
I was good with it though. I was smooth.
I knew he was coming.
So you would say one of the highlights of marriage is intimacy.
A true God-free,
God free.
meaning God ordained,
Yeah, it's not.
and free from sin,
guilt free.
guilt-free.
There you go. I'm trying to help you.
Really honoring God in our love for one another, but not having to worry about sneaking and Lord forgive me and all that. It's just the pureness of it. That's a wonderful feeling.
Yes.
It is.
I agree.
The relationship is wonderful.
It is a wonderful
He
feeling.
said
No, I ain't talking about the relations.
Oh, okay.
I said being.
Oh God.
I'm talking being.
I'm trying to hear what you're saying. I'm trying to hear.
Y'all understand what I'm saying? Because we weren't right in the beginning.
Beginning.
But the wonderful feeling of God being pleased with the relationship and being able to be free in it, intimately, that's a wonderful part of marriage.
Cynthia is laughing.
It's true.
Yeah. Girl,
The relations.
we trying to.
I understand. I knew where we were going when your little eyes went up like that. I knew what you're trying to say.
Everybody knew that he was gonna get to this point at some point.
What? Did I say anything wrong?
No.
We didn't say you said anything wrong. We just knew you were gonna make it to it at some point. We didn't know
I'm
when.
just saying.
Amen.
We just knew it was coming out with one of these questions. Okay, we've been on here quite a while, and the time is far spent. So for the next few questions that we have, let's try to go quickly. Okay,
Alright.
so maybe not everybody answered, just
Bet.
all right. So the next question is, and y'all can choose if the husbands or the wives answer. Y'all want to do
Okay.
it that way?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. Next question is, what are 3 major components you think every marriage needs? 3 major, rock solid components a marriage has.
Wise got that.
60 seconds.
Oh, I can give you that right there.
She said they already got.
Y'all ready?
They
No, we're
got-
gonna let y'all go first.
Why?
We gotta discuss.
No. No. No.
Trying to-
Pass is
No.
wrong.
Go ahead, Reverend. You said you had it. 30 seconds. Go
Look.
ahead.
No, let them do it.
Okay.
Y'all already talked about these questions. Let's
See,
go.
go ahead, Nelson. YD.
I think one was communication.
Yeah, definitely communication, passion, and
I can't remember the third one we talked about that.
oh yeah.
It was another key word.
Perseverance.
Yes, that's what it was. So, for these YBs, we say the 3 major components that you need in a marriage are communication, passion, we already spoke a little bit about that,
Amen.
and perseverance. Because I think, especially in the modern day marriages, one of the things that are first things they want to do when things get rough, like some of the rough times we talked about in the beginning, is they want to look for the exit.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to put the work in, because marriage is work. And if you don't put the work in, you will not persevere.
Not gonna happen. All right, we need 3.
Communication. Consistency.
Yes.
Compromise.
That's good
It's good. You got about 20 more seconds to go elaborate. Go ahead.
Well, communication is the number one because you got to talk about everything. everything from your finances, from one room. Every room in the house requires communication. There's not a room in the house that doesn't require communication. And so communication is the foundation of everything. But then when you get consistency, you got to be consistently being there, consistent in your communication, consistent in your love for one another, consistent in your understanding, consistent in your dedication. And so those consistency goes along with every facet also. But then compromise. You got to be willing to compromise, knowing that you're not always going to get your way. Marriage is not 50-50. Marriage is 100%, 100%. Meaning, even when you're not getting your way, even when you compromise, you give 100% in what you're compromising to. So my compromise, she may want this, I'm willing to be good with it. If I'm compromising, give my 100% in being there and undergirding what I'm giving into, so that the same thing can be reciprocated back to me. We look at, too many people say 50-50 when 50-50 is not the same. It's not the case. Because I don't want 50% of you. I want 100% in everything. Even when it's not your idea, even when you feel like it's not what you want. That's where compromise comes in. And too many people in marriages do not want to compromise. Everybody wants to be selfish. And when you're selfish in a relationship, the relationship will die. Because now it's all about you versus you being willing to give in to the one you love.
All right, good.
All right. So, what is one thing you would tell other married couples to definitely avoid? One thing you would tell other married couples to definitely avoid. We said credit cards. We already talked about that a little bit. We talked about how bad our finances were in the beginning, and then we got into that cycle of the whole credit card thing, and then when we needed credit for something, when we got ready to buy a car, buy a house, we had messed up our credit with credit cards. So if you can't avoid credit cards, if you don't know how to use them correctly, that is something that we would definitely say you need to avoid, especially young couples.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna say involving your family and other people in your business, in
You
your
took
marriage.
that off my head, girl.
And the reason why I say that is because we could have a disagreement and argue, but because we love each other, we're gonna come back to the table and we're gonna work that thing out as to where your family member cannot forgive as quickly as you. When it comes down to it, they don't have the same love for your spouse that you have for your spouse.
Yeah.
So they're gonna have a problem every time they come around your spouse, and that's going to make it socially awkward for you and them. And so when you work things out amongst yourselves, when you have issues and problems, I'm not saying don't go get counseling, because there's a place for that. Get counseling. But if you can help it, don't get counseling from your mama and your daddy. Don't get counseling from your sister and your brother. Go get counseling from somebody who don't know you, and y'all both have an even stake in the conversation, because they don't know you and they can hear you, and they're unbiased when they give you advice. Secondly, when you do, and I know this is one thing, it's still letting people in, but when you talk about your spouse to your girlfriend or your boyfriend, y'all don't have boyfriends.
No.
Friend,
Your bros.
homie.
Yeah, your
Your
bros.
That got really weird, really fast.
Your friend girl, or your bruh, or whatever the case may be. And I know y'all talk because y'all are really close like that. You and the brothers, we expect y'all to. But I'm saying just a friend, just a friend.
Yes.
That in turn can be taken as betrayal from the other one. So you don't want, your spouse to feel like you betrayed their privacy by going to talk to your friend girl about your husband, or vice versa.
Can I tag in on that real quick? Another reason why, and I think she said it, but I just want to get this. You don't want to involve your family and your friends and your bros and all too many people in your relationship, because the way you paint the picture in front of other people about your spouse, you may have forgiven them, Everybody else don't process that stuff the way that you do. So now all they remember is what you told them about them. And you wonder why they treating your spouse funny. And you want to get mad at them. But you're the one that painted the picture of them for them. So you got to keep your stuff to yourself.
Unless it's a serious situation.
Oh,
Right.
They beating your head in.
That
Somebody
kinda
put
leads
their
me
paws
right
on
to the
you.
next thing. Yeah.
Call the family because we coming.
Right. That's
That's
special
a whole-
circumstance.
There you
Come
go.
on, talk to me.
Extenuating circumstances
Uh-huh.
and involve that. We coming. Let us know.
But just because he ate your pizza in the
Yeah,
refrigerator.
Oh, Lord.
That's a story we could tell, but we don't have time for that
Wait.
tonight because that's a true story.
It's a true story.
Let's go right on to the next
Man.
person. They ate her pizza.
Okay, let's go.
We're not gonna tell that story tonight. We'll do that one next time.
Next
okay?
time.
This kind of leads right into the next question. What they were talking about just a second ago is, what is one thing you would definitely tell other married couples to welcome? And I would start off with that. I would say godly counsel.
Got to.
Because a lot of couples think it's a bad thing
Yeah.
to get counsel, and it's not.
No.
It's kind of like going to the doctor, okay?
Yeah.
Because if you have this issue within your body and you know it's there, but you never go to the doctor to get seen about, eventually that disease or that issue is going to get out of hand. Let's say you have cancer, but you go all these years without getting it seen about,
Right.
and then
right.
you finally go to the doctor and they can't do anything about it because the infection and the cancer has spread too far. So it's over. They just give you your timeline stamp. You have this amount of time left. So sometimes I think two couples do that with marriage. They feel like it's a bad thing to get counseling. I think it should be something that's done on a regular basis, even if you have a healthy marriage.
Yeah, I agree.
Just having someone to go to and talk to that's going to give you godly wisdom. Now remember, we said we're not talking about your family members or your best friend, but somebody who's going to give you good, rock solid, godly counsel, so that even if an issue comes up within your marriage, that's something you can nip in the bud, and you don't have to let it grow into something that's going to cause you to separate.
Right.
When it could have been taken care of early on.
Facts.
Like you said, counseling and premarital counseling as well. Counseling before you get married, because you need tools when you go into your marriage to work with.
Yes.
You need a set of tools. I remember my dad gave me a little toolkit when I was really young, like a little small toolkit that I took everywhere. And that's one of the first things we gave our children when they moved out, was a toolkit. You need a toolkit for your marriage when you first start out. You need to know how to argue, because there are going to be arguments. You need to know how to survive, because there's going to be moments where it's going to seem like you can't. You know, there's going to be so many things that you need to know pre-marriage before you start the life together. And that helps you to recognize whether or not you need to hold off and wait a minute. Like, wait, maybe we need to date a little while longer. Not saying that you need to just quit the whole relationship altogether. Now, some people might need to, because they may have come together off false pretenses.
I don't know you like I
But other times it just means you need to date a little while longer to make sure this is a thing that you want to insert, or insert into your life, because you want to make sure that you're going to be able to carry this thing out for life, because marriage is till, I don't care what nobody else says, death do you part.
Yeah.
I
I
agree.
mean, and I'm not saying that we ain't gonna go there, but when you stand before God and the preacher and the witnesses, you say, till death do you part. And if you can't say that with a clear conscience, then you might need to wait.
Definitely.
I agree. I'm good.
Anybody else?
Okay.
All right, so of course we're gonna do a little Q&A in a minute. So if y'all have some questions that we haven't addressed yet, go ahead and get those typed on the screen. But my sister-in-law and I were watching a video the other day. It's gone viral, so I'm pretty sure that a lot of people have seen it. If you have not seen it, We're going to show just a little clip, and then we're going to talk a little bit about that clip as we show the video. If you have some questions or a comment about the video, you can also type that on the screen. And after the video, then we'll be back with you to address what we see in the video.
You know, Og and I haven't talked in so long. You know what I mean? So I don't know. This all seemed very strange,
Yeah.
you know. But I'm grateful for the journey that you and I have had together.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there are a lot of couples that go through those periods.
Yeah.
And a lot of couples that have to separate and think
Yeah.
it's over. And,
Yeah.
you know, the one thing I'll say about you and I is that there's never been secrets.
Right. We came together young, and we were both broken in our own ways. And to be able to make mistakes without the fear of losing your family is so critical.
Yeah. It's the idea of any relationship and trying to get to deeper understanding of love is going to be forged in fire.
Yeah.
There's no way around it.
Yeah.
And I think that one of the things that I'm deeply grateful in this whole process between you and I is that we have really gotten to that new place
Yes.
of unconditional love.
Because I wasn't sure I was ever going to speak to you again.
I know.
Yeah, like the fact that I'm speaking to you again is a miracle.
I would agree. I would agree.
No, but it ain't for the weak at heart. There's just certain things that you have to go through, and it's like.
And I wish, you know, I wish that wasn't the case. I do. I wish that wasn't the case.
I sure wish it could be all magic and miracles.
Yeah. You got to go through some to get the answers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'm just happy because I definitely believe that you and I, we never, ever, ever thought that we would make it back.
Yeah, there's a real power in the just knowing somebody's riding with you no matter what.
Yeah.
And you really can't know that
Until you go
through some stuff, you know. I don't want to go through this no more.
Yeah, no, I don't either.
Yeah. I'm going to get you back first, and then.
You're going to get me back. I think you got me back. I think we're good on that, okay?
Okay, that's probably true.
You know, but, and I don't think it's about getting anybody back.
No, for me it is.
Okay. I'll give you that petty if that's what you want. But, you know, I will definitely say it's just part of it.
Yeah.
You know, if you expect to be with somebody for a lifetime.
25 years and counting.
We ride together,